So we are starting our lesson with vowel harmony and consonant changes. There we go. But before that, yeah, I forgot. I wanted to talk about the basics and principles. So the first one, the very first thing you need to know about Turkish is the agglutination. When you understand or when you know what agglutination is, you will be able to form your own sentences. I know that some people want to pick up and learn things from TV shows, but if you do this, you will be limited to what you hear. And in order to make and form your own sentence, you need to understand how the grammar is formed. And that's the key, agglutination. Basically attaching suffixes to nouns, adjectives, or verbs to make a new sense or meaning out of them. So for example, if you can see here, in English you do say like I do drink. You say three words. I, you, drink. In Turkish, that can look like one word, but there are suffixes that are all connected to each other. İç, erim. All of these, I will call them markers, or you can call them suffixes. All of these, they show a different meaning. For example, if you want to change the tense, so if you will drink something in the future, you will change this part. And if someone else drinks something, you will change the personal marker. Or, as you can see in the other example, içersin, you do drink, or he. And of course, there's not always a apparent or obvious markers. For the singular past, singular third person, we don't have any ending, but that is actually another indicator. When there is no ending, you will know that it is he or she. Anyway, and also about possessions, we call them genitive case or possessive suffixes. You can see all these suffixes that are connected and they all change the meaning. If you want to say my father's car, you will need to insert this M on baba. And there's an order for this, of course. So babamın. If you want to say your father, what you need to change here is this. You will need to change this genitive suffix to the second singular person, which is you. It will become babanın. There's an N. I will explain the details in future lessons. Genitives, a genitive case is an important subject. So I will only give you an overview on the grammar. And then word order. That was actually the last lesson from the last year. It should be recent. It was like 4 weeks ago. So if you were there, it should be familiar. But if not, you should know that the word order is pretty flexible. We don't have a very set of the order. You can change and switch the words around the sentence. Sometimes you can say içerim süt ben. Like you can literally put the verb like drink milk I. Or süt içerim ben. You can literally say milk drink I. So it is pretty flexible. It all depends on you and how you want to emphasize your sentence. And next one, pronoun omission. Of course, this is another important. As far as I know, Spanish also does that, and there are most likely other languages who omit the pronoun, as in who drop the pronoun. So we don't always say ben süt içerim. Sometimes we say, or most of the time we say süt içerim. And we don't always say sen süt içersin for you. Most of the time we say süt içersin. Because, as I said in the previous slide, these endings already indicate the person. Like I drink, so I don't need to say again ben. And then you, sin. Sin is for you. They are used to emphasize and like it is me who drink the milk. If you want to emphasize it like this, you can add the pronoun, but it is optional, and it actually depends on the context. And speaking of context, here is another important thing about Turkish. Turkish words are sensitive on the context. That means they change depending on the context. And of course this happens with other languages. That's not my point, but my point is this is very heavy in Turkish. So words have a lot of meanings depending on the context. So from what I see, Turkish is one of the most sensitive when it comes to context. So içmek or sürmek or gülmek, as you can see with these examples, they mean completely different things. Like içmek, drink or smoke. So when you want to say I am smoking cigarettes, you need to use içmek verb, which also can mean I am drinking cigarettes. Or sürmek, while it means to last, as in the lesson lasts for an hour, like a duration, it can also mean driving a car. So you will need to learn different meanings of the words, and you need to be always careful with the context. That's why I keep saying that in Turkish, context is your friend, and when you want to understand a sentence, do not take it out of the context. I see this mistake all the time. People take the word out of the sentence and asks like, what does that mean? I don't know if I don't the context. It could mean a lot of things. You need to tell me the full sentence. And when I see the full sentence, I will understand which meaning is used. Okay, and yes, after the basics, let's actually start the grammar. And I will again keep this simple. I will try to avoid the heavy terms that probably nobody knows, only the linguistics or linguists know, like language freaks. But the best way or the simplest way to teach and understand vowel harmony is basically these four options. When you look up the course books or grammar books, you will see this categorization: two-way vowel harmony and four-way vowel harmony. And two-way vowel harmony means the words can change, or the vowels can change between a and e. It is only like two ways. You can only go into two directions. But four-way is more complicated. You can go into four different directions. You can use I, U, Ü. Okay? And of course, these four options is mostly used for the four-way vowel harmony. Two-way vowel harmony is more simple because it is mostly used with the plurals. When you want to say like car and cars. So this way you can use the two-way vowel harmony, and when you need to add new suffixes, you should check and make sure if it is two-way or four-way. So you can do the agglutination step by step. First step, if it is two-way or four-way, and then if it is four-way, for example, you can follow these options. And I wanted to give an example on how to use this table or how to follow these options. So Let's have an example and let's say araba. That means a car. In Turkish, araba means a car. So how can you say cars? So plural uses two-way vowel harmony. And two-way vowel harmony after a, you will need a. So arabalar. So that means cars. But what if you need to use the four-way vowel harmony? That's when the things get complicated. Araba again. So what do we use four-way harmony in, like in which subject? We use it in the accusative case. So if I want to say arabayı, there's not an exact translation for accusative case, but I can say the car. I can see the car. Arabayı görebiliyorum. The suffix I will use is ı, because if I look here after a, I will need ı. And let's have a different example. Ev, which means house. So if I want to say houses, plural, evler. So first, two-way vowel harmony. Again, so it is only between e and e. Evler, evler. But let's use the four-way vowel harmony on this one. So ev becomes evvi, because after e you will need e. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Consonant changes. This is as important as the vowel harmony, because sometimes words will have a consonant as the last letter. It's not always a vowel, and sometimes you will need to separate them, sometimes you will need to change the last letter, and sometimes you will need to choose the correct suffix. So buffering, for example, buffering is all about separating vowels. So I will give them quick descriptions. This is separating vowels. So for example, in the previous slide, the previous example, arabayı, or let's use arabaya to make it more translatable, to the car. So as I said, araba is the stem, it's the root, it means the car. And when you need to say to, you will use the dative case, which is a, and again, which is two-way vowel harmony, a. But you can't say this, araba. It won't make sense, it won't sound nice. It's araba. Instead of saying araba, you need to insert this buffer. That's what we call it, buffering. Arabaya or arabayı. Like I wanted to call it the car, but I'm scared this will cause some confusion because it's not always the car, it's only the car when it's the object of the sentence. When you say I am driving the car, or I am getting into the car, etc. Or yeah, banka, that means bank, to the bank, bankaya, to the bank. Again, we have banka, there's a at the end, it's a vowel, and after a you need to add two-way vowel harmony, and you need to separate them with the buffer, bankaya. Okay. Hastaneye, yes, thank you. Hastaneye, to the hospital. Hastane means hospital. So when you need to say to the hospital, you should say hastaneye. And once again, the first is like that's the root, that's the stem here. And then when you need to change or add the for to, you will need to have this but they can't go together, so you are separating them like this. Hastaneye. That's the meaning or function behind buffering. Okay, and what is softening? There are more fancy terms for this, but I call them softening and hardening, so you will at least try know what it means. It is about softening, so consonants become soft. And what is a soft consonant? This is again all about the linguistics. Consonants are put into two categories: soft categories or hard categories, or in the more correct terms, you know, I forgot the terms. It was like unrounded or round or flat or something, but all you need to know. Wait, let me show you the table again. So it is all about changing the last letter. So if you have a at the end, wait, I want to add a text here. So softening the last letter of a word. So for example, if you have ağaç, that means a tree. Ağaç, and when you need to say to the tree, you will again use the two-way vowel harmony, so you will have, wait, ağaç, but you can't say ağaça because that sounds too hard. That's when the softening happens. Instead of saying ağaça, we need to say ağaca, like this. And yes, good example. Kelebek means butterfly. And when you need to say the butterfly's possession, genitive ending, you need to say kelebeğin. As you can see, you change this last letter. Like we don't say kelebekin, we say kelebeğin. Okay, and hardening. Hardening is about choosing the correct suffix. So if the last letter is a hard consonant, you need to choose a hard suffix. So choosing the hard or correct suffix. So for example, let's go with the ağaç example again. Ağaç. And this time I want to say on the tree. I wanted to use the locative case. So the suffix is actually da or de, depends on the context, depends on the vowel harmony, like da, de, ta, te. These are the locative case endings. So I need to say ağaç, da, but the last letter is a hard letter. So it changes or hardens this one. So instead of saying ağaç, da, I need to say ağaç, ta. This will be useful when we learn about the locative case, because as I typed and deleted, there will be actually a set of four suffixes, da, de, and then ta, te. When you need to say in, on, at, you will need to choose one of these. The vowel is determined by the vowel harmony, and D or T, that one is determined by the hardening rules. And now, actually, let's go a little bit more into detail with these ones. So, herkese yeni bir eğitim öğretim yılı diliyorum. Umarım bu yıl hedeflerimize ulaşabiliriz. I hope this year we can reach our goals. So, kendinize iyi bakın. Sonra görüşürüz. İyi akşamlar.